Yo, what's up guys, Madden Fire here back with another video, and today we're going to be bringing you guys one of my favorite run schemes in Madden 22. Nice little mini scheme for you guys, and it's going to be the single back wing stack. Now I'm in the New Orleans Saints offensive playbook. This formation is also in the Buccaneers, Chargers, Giants, Lions, Panthers, and Steelers, I believe. So I think it is it's in those 7. So it isn't a variety. Definitely if you're running Panthers, that bunch offset, you could run this, but it's in some of the other unique ones as well. So wing stack, it is a pretty good formation. You get 2 slot receivers here, which is unique. It's a lot of cool plays. Of course, it's a 2 tight end set, so that's why the running effect will have a play in this. But again, I like the Saints one better. Each of these playbooks that has it will have a different variety of plays. I would highly recommend getting one that has the dive and the stretch, which is what we have here. Now, the plays that we're going to run are going to be the dive, stretch, curl, post, drag. I like this play, PA fork. That's a pretty good cover 4 beater as well. There's also the smash play and this PA double in shot that we might go over depending on how long this video is. So, I mean, of course, there's some other good runs. There's a belly weak, there's a zone. So we're mainly going to run the stretch and the dive, but there are some other options. Now we're just going to begin with the halfback dive, show you guys what it looks like stock, what I like to do to set up some better blocks, confuse people with motion. And of course, the first way to run it is just straight up the gut like this, and you're going to get pretty good push up front, kind of similar to almost a deuce close or a wing flex close look rather. You have these 2 receivers. They are off the ball, whereas normally they would be right about here where I'm IDing the mic. Again, it's just a little bit different. Now, one of my favorite things I used to do in previous years was bounce that to the outside. It's not really possible on next gen. If you're on current gen, you could definitely bounce it out to the left side. But on next gen, the movement's just a little bit too slow, and when you add Derrick Henry to that, it's not too well. Now, concept that I've carried over from wing flex close to this formation is to motion one of these 2 tight ends over. So this almost creates like a wham block up the middle, and that'll give you a lot of push straight up the gut. He can pick up linebackers on that weak side, on that left side. And yeah, you can either block this guy, R1, or this A or X button right here. Doesn't really matter. If you want to cut left, I recommend using A little bit more. If you want that kind of wham block, you're going to get RB. So yeah, I mean, just pretty solid. Again, you can just kind of go up front. We're getting shedded because these O-linemen are not very good, but you can definitely make things happen. You can, of course, flip the run to this left side if you want to. This will definitely probably open up things if you're getting shedded to that right side. So if you want, of course, just flip the run. That'll open things up. That also might be a little bit favorable when you're using this wham type of a block. Again, when you motion him over and the run is flipped, oftentimes he won't do that wham, but if he's flipped to the right or standard, then you will get that kind of inside animation. Another thing you can do is one thing just to confuse him, just to give him some things to look at, motion out one of these receivers, just kind of shift his eyes, and you notice it actually pushes the corner out wide and almost seem to open up a bigger gap for us, you know, up the middle. So that's something that is an option. You can either go Jones or Brown, I believe, with the motion snap. Never mind, I guess it's just Jones, or just Brown rather. As far as motioning to the right, that's where you can get glitchy, which we'll mainly talk about with the stretch, but you would want to maybe do this with the dive just to confuse him. So you can kind of motion him over. We're going to use that a lot more with the stretch, but you definitely want to mix in the dive because if he's overcommitting to the right, that's where gaps could get opened up. But that's going to carry us into the stretch. So now, as far as the side of the ball that you're in, or, you know, the spot, we have the receivers to the wide side as you might expect. And if you're running this stretch to this side, sometimes it's actually better to be flipped so that you have a little bit more space to run stretch. I like running stretch to the wide side. And sometimes this, you get a little bit less room, but you should still be able to cut it up. And you see we're getting pretty decent gains, although we're not breaking any. With Henry, he's not the guy who's going to break 30-yard gains, really. So maybe I should have picked Carolina or something. I believe if I also motion over Julio, I should get the motion snap, which we can. So there's that look for you guys. Now you see we're getting a lot bigger gaps when we incorporate some of the motion. Motion's definitely something you want to use in the passing game and the running game, so that, again, you throw him for a little bit of a loop. Of course, you can just run this stock either way, flipped. Normally, I would not run to the wide receiver side. You're getting A, worse blocking, and B, His slot corner is there, so it's going to be an extra man, so I would probably run it here. If you were going to run it to the wide receiver side, that's where you're going to go ahead and motion one of your tight ends over. So we'll show what that looks like, but even then, you still want to cut this up the middle, because if you're just running it to the complete outside, one of those guys is going to get shedded, so cut it up right here. Just make the quick decision, pick up your 5+ yards, and then start carrying him forward for maybe a 6-7 yard gain. And that would be my recommendation. Again, if I'm running the stretch, we can still incorporate this little motion to the outside. It's probably one of the best ways to run it, honestly, where you motion to the left and actually run it to the right. That's going to shift his attention, his focus to the left side. That also might have the pass written all over it when you motion this guy, and then you just end up running stretch to the opposite side. I mean, that was god-awful sick work, but you guys pretty much get the point. With this stretch run, you can do a whole lot with it. Again, one thing I've done to confuse people is I've actually motioned the tight end from right to left, and I've actually kept the stretch run to the right. So this is something that you can do. And you see, we still get a huge gap, and then we still have the one-on-one with the slot corner or with the outside corner. Really, the only way that they're going to get a quick pursuit is if they press this cornerback, and that's when you can do things like motion and beat him over the top, or beat him over the top with a deep post like this if he's pressed. So trust me, that will be covered, but similar to deuce close, pressing, of course, will kind of help him. And we're going to snap the ball again. Sometimes you can get to the outside like this, but that was just a case of the cornerback getting stuck a little bit, not really a case of good run ball carrier vision. So, but yeah, that's pretty much the runs. We'll hop into the PA fork, and we're actually in a cover 4 quarters, so we're just going to pretty much run it like this, and I'll show you just how this deep post is going to get pretty much wide open with A.J. Brown over the top. You see it there. We got a bad animation there, or a bad kind of cut there. Pretty much a bad everything, but we'll run it again. Now, my favorite way to run this is kind of a setup like this. We'll delay fade A, put RB on this deeper in route, and just kind of keep. I like to keep the play action here, because there is a run like this, and now you see we get a better break, and he just seems to get more open when I run it that particular way. You could run it stock, and it would still work, but that's probably my favorite way to run it. Now, cover 4 quarters, especially if he's base aligned, you notice that the guy matching onto A.J. Brown is going to be this guy who I have my mic ID'd on all the way on the outside. So that's the main reason you see A.J. getting open, because the slot or the outside quarter is running all the way from the outside over, if I'm not mistaken, which, yes, he is. And that's why you see him just getting a little bit open there, or wide open in some cases. So especially if he's baseline, he would be even further out. So that can be nice. I've seen the streak concept kind of work a little bit also. We'll kind of try that out. And we're just trying out things on the fly a little bit. And yeah, you see maybe even a little bit more separation there. Some would say it's the same, but you can definitely try out things like that. A lot of times when you have 2 routes in the same place against a match and the zones bump each other, that's where you can see those broken coverages and huge gains for the offense. So again, I like to mention that you can also motion this guy out. So we were doing that. You don't have to throw it to X, so we can still throw it to some of these other guys. Again, I like this setup a little bit, but you can motion X out, keep the play action, and now look, Derrick Henry's wide open, so you can easily check it down to him in the flats. You'll take that 10 out of 10 times, but I mean, yeah, just keep things pretty simple. You can also kind of turn this into a deeper corner route, although this isn't probably my favorite way to run it. Something like this you could realistically run, and you see X actually he's open early, so if you want to throw that, throw it early, because on the short side, you don't have the most space with that, but if he's on the wide side, that might be a little bit of a different story. Julio, again, you can kind of mix in things, so maybe I go with a setup like this, where we slant Julio, we motion him across, we have a little out route, maybe we have a backside flat, something like this. You still have your play action, so that's where you can get creative, and look who's wide open. Julio's wide open. If he defends Julio with his user, which you would kind of expect him to, then you're probably going to have the deep post over the top. With the motion, that inside quarter should also come down a little bit as well. Now the next play is curl post drag. This play is decent. You have a couple of unique routes. My favorite way to run this is going to be to motion Julio Jones out a little bit like this. And then I'm just going to put A on a normal drag. So I like to just kind of run it like this. You have Henry who's going to go to that other side on this little check and release. But Julio is just on this very good curl route. I like it a lot. Against main zone coverage, it's like cover 3. And he's going to be in a lot better spot when he's motioned out, in my personal opinion, than when he is normal. So that's my cup of tea. That's my 2 cents rather, not cup of tea. But yeah, you got nice little corner route to underneath route combo. You're not really going to have too many situations where you throw that corner out unless you have a super fast guy against man coverage. So mainly you're just keeping that route there to open up Derrick Henry. Realistically, if you had to, you could delay fade him. Kind of just run it like this if you needed to. That would be a decent max protect setup. A.J. Brown's route is pretty weird, as you've seen. I wish he was on just a normal S post or Z post, whatever you want to call it, because it is just kind of weird here. We'll try and fit it in, but you see it just runs super weird, and it's not really opened up. It's not good against zone, really good against man. It can be good against zones if they're, not running any hook zones or vert hooks, but other than that, it's not my favorite personal route. I've seen some cool things where maybe you motion them across. You can kind of open things up like this. You motion them across, and now you see he could get open there maybe if you have more space, but not my favorite route. And with that being said, we're actually going to hop into those other 2 pass plays I mentioned at the beginning. All right, boys, we hopped into these other plays. This is a play, this smash, that is, of course, in the wing flex close. It's on this wing stack as well. Some basic ways to run it: put X on a little flat route, put RB on a delay fade. You could put Y on a little option or this little out route, motion out Brown. So here's just a nice little example of a way to run it. You can hit Brown on this flat. I like throwing that a lot. Again, it's just a basic corner out concept. It's not going to be one play touchdown really against any coverage, but you can kind of just run it like this, and you would be able to have success with that. Again, I could just run it kind of like with X on a streak if I wanted to, or I could fade X and run it like this. This is a nice little quick snap setup, especially if he's expecting run. Then you're able to hit Julio Jones over the top, wide open there. I don't know what that animation was, but I mean, just pretty basic. Another concept that I like to do out of this is to go with the motioned over post route. So I'll go ahead, maybe hitch X, I'll just do something maybe like this, or I could slant X, go with the concept like this. But again, oh my god, I don't know what that Nano Woods was, but any combination of a post slant's always good in Madden. So put X on a slant, put RB on a flat, delay fade A, and then put the running back on the opposite side, out route like this. I don't know why I couldn't speak previously, but hopefully we don't get instant shedded, and there you have it. So now you have a little slant route with A.J. Brown, you have your flat, you have that post route. Again, some of these concepts are better if I had the ball respotted, gives you a little bit more space. If you want to go with some more motion wide receiver concepts, you could move the ball to the left side in this case and run your wide receivers on the wide side of the field, or the short side rather, motioning them to the wide side. So if that's an issue, that's something you can certainly go with. Now, the last play is this PA double in shot. I'll be honest, it's not my favorite play, but you kind of have this crossover with A.J. Brown, so we will mention it, and we'll just try and show it. Of course, Julio's route is not good at all, so there's no really reason to motion or mention him, but this is a cover 2, and you see, I don't know how that was just so open, but for whatever reason, the deep half wasn't even close to defend that, and he almost seemed pulled down, so maybe this actually is like a really good cover 2 beater for whatever reason. Again, I just ran it like this the previous play. I actually want to try this out again. Oh my god. I don't know what's good with this formation getting shedded. Nobody would really run a normal nickel 2-4-5, so you should be fine. But it is interesting how he's just getting instant shedded, kind of like he did against Chandler Jones. But there you see the mid-read kind of match onto him, but if he's playing low zone jobs, 10-yard zone jobs, you can beat him over the top easily with this route that A.J. Brown is on. Something I also like to do is maybe you could even go with a setup like this. And this would, you can maybe incorporate some motion, just do different things. Now, if you really want to have him as a crosser, don't motion him out, and you might even want to motion him over a little bit if you can, but again, just another play. I don't run this play, so I'm not going to talk about it for too long, but it is here if you choose to. So that's going to do it for the video. If you enjoyed, drop a big thumbs up, subscribe to the channel down below, and peace. I'm out of here.